Hello everyone, we're back again. We're going to talk about some golf cart issues today. Who knows what we're going to get into today? It's always a surprise. We may talk about lithium, we may talk about lead acid, we may talk about tires, rims, and we never know. Anyway, we come here twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and try to help people out, try to save them some money on their golf cart related stuff. Let's see, we got Russell Weidman in the YouTube chat. Russell says, I'm working on a Yamaha G29 48 volt electric. Okay, it will not move forward or backwards. If I jack it up and press the accelerator pedal, the solenoid clicks with jacked up and will only move about 1 inch before it does nothing. Well, I can tell you this, that the fact that the solenoid clicks and it does try to move a little bit, that's a good sign and a bad sign. Well, the good thing is you don't have to worry about diagnosing the front half of your golf cart, like from your key switch is fine, all your wires from your key switch to your forward and reverse switch is fine, your accelerator pedal micro switch is fine, everything is fine all the way up into the solenoid. Your solenoid, it could possibly be the solenoid, but it's very unlikely. Most likely that is a symptom of a bad controller. I've seen it many times that the golf cart you'll take off, or you'll hit the gas pedal, the solenoid will click and it'll just bump forward and it'll do the same thing in reverse. I've seen that many times where that was a controller issue. So it very well could be that. Mason, what's up, Mason? How's it going, man? Hey, Tim from Snowy Lake City. The storm was a bit of a flop, probably only about 16 to 17 since Tuesday, not the 20 or 30 like they said, and the wind here on the southeast side of Minnesota was nothing, swag. So 16 to 17 is a flop, huh, where you're from? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I talked to a lady today, I mean, just to show you the opposite, I talked to a lady today, a scheduled call, and she lives on a barrier tropical island, and rents golf cars to the tourists. I can't think of a sweeter gig than that. Anyway, let's see here. So we're good there. Let me see. Question number 1. We'll get started. Since the garage is now open, we'll get started and see what we can get into. Question number 1 is, I have a 2007 EZGO TXT series. It is lifted 3 inches, large wheels, goes 20 to 21 with base original motor and controller. New lithium 36 volt batteries and larger cables. I do not want to spend $2,000 for a new motor, a new controller, but it would like to get it a little more speed. I've been told that a new controller will give some speed to the existing motor, but what I need says it will add torque only. That is the question. If I can find a good buy on a motor and controller, I can use that without converting to 48 volts. I might do that. Dealership said that Alltrax DX500 might give me a little more speed than the existing motor. All right, let's talk about that for a second here. Find my paper here. Well, here's a couple of things wrong with that. Okay, your EZGO TXT 36 volt series is already lifted with taller tires. Okay, now that cutting your power down but gaining your speed. All right, so that's why you get a little bit of a speed increase, because you have taller tires on it, but you actually are cutting down your power. Now, your 36 volt lithium with larger cables, that's cool because you're actually compensating a little bit for that. You said you don't want to spend, well, let's see, converting it to 48 volts would probably be a good idea, but right now you're just using a 36 volt lithium, so you probably want to just stay right there. The dealership told me that a DCX500 might give it more speed with the existing motor. What do you think? All right, well, there's the problem. I don't like to hear it when the dealership gives wrong information to customers. But a DCX 500, they're talking about an Alltrax DCX 500. That is a shunt wound controller. Your cart is a series cart. So a DCX 500 is not what you would want. Plus, putting a controller, a bigger controller, in a series wound cart is not going to increase your speed. It's only going to help you with torque. It's not going to increase your speed. But that DCX 500, that is absolutely the wrong controller for your cart also. You need a series controller. Now, Alltrax makes series controller too, but that's not going to be the one you would need. You don't need a DCX 500, but don't expect it to increase your speed either. Let's see. Over on YouTube, Russell says, solenoid is sending power to the controller, but only for like a split second, and then the power goes away. I understand. That's exactly what's happening. The solenoid is activating and sending power to the controller, but nothing is coming out of the controller. So that's why I said that's a symptom of a controller issue. Or, I mean, something's coming out of the controller, but just for a split second, just enough to make the motor jerk. Hey, 𝗪𝗂𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗀𝘃𝗄𝘆, how's it swagging? That's from Craig on YouTube. What's up, Craig? It's swagging good, man. It's swagging good. Like I said last week, I feel the swag. I do. I feel it. I feel the swag. Let's see. Sorry, I meant to say the power goes to the motor after going to the controller, but only for a split. That is correct, Russell. I have never, I'll tell you this, just to give you a little more confidence in what I'm saying. I've never seen that symptom be the motor. It's never been the motor. The only symptom I've seen in a motor a few times is that the motor just completely quit working altogether. I've never seen that be a motor issue. And like we talked about before, we know you're getting power to your solenoid is activating, your solenoid's activating. The only thing behind the solenoid is the controller and the motor. So there you go. Let's see. Craig says, let's give all gearhead some thumbs up. Yeah, do that. That'd be fine. I'm cool with that. Jen Slinger, what's up? I just talked to Jen Slinger on the phone just a few minutes ago. It snowed here in Vegas yesterday. Of course, nothing stuck. Felt pretty swaggy. Let's see. Also, some gearhead thumbs up. Cool, man. Give it some thumbs up. Like and subscribe. Do whatever you can. It all helps. It all helps with the incoming swag. Gene Hansen. Do you need to match amps on a 500 controller to heavy duty? On a 500 controller to heavy duty 500 controller. What are you talking about, Gene? You talking about on a solenoid? Do you need to match the solenoid amperage to the controller amp? If that's what you're talking about, the answer is no. You do not need to match that. If you get I think you might have meant to type contactor. Do you need to match it? Yeah. Okay. No. See, those a solenoid or a contactor, they have a continuous rating of voltage, but then they also have an input rush rating, which is going to be way higher than you think it is. So in other words, if you had a 500 amp controller and you get a 200 amp solenoid that says it's heavy duty, it's still going to work because that 200 amp solenoid would be able to take that 500 amp rush, which you probably will never do anyway. It'll be able to take that 500 amp rush. So yeah, no, you don't have to match that. Just get a heavy duty solenoid. Usually 200 or 400 amp would be fine. Let's see. Russell says, okay, thanks so much for your help. Well, you're welcome, Russell. I hope that guides you in the right direction. Gene says, okay, thanks. You're welcome, Gene. Joe Foster on Facebook. What's up, Joe Foster? North Carolina, 74 degrees and sunny. That sounds pretty good. It's I think it's going to be, you're further north than I am and you're warmer? I'll have to look at the weather, see what's going on. Let's see here. We'll go to number 2. cart is rumbling when backing up. Could it be my carburetor or clutch? I'm getting different things from so-called golf cart mechanics. The carb is cheap enough, so I ordered one. If that's not it, then I think it's the clutch. It needs tires badly. Could this be a problem? I don't want to invest in tires until I get this fixed. Rumbling when backing up. Well, this is what I would do. It's not going to be the carb. It's not going to be rumbling when backing up. I don't see how that could even, I don't see how it could be a carb issue. It could be a clutch issue. It could be. I have had to do warranty work on the driven clutch, you know, not the drive clutch. The rear clutch is called the driven clutch. I have seen those make, when they go bad, it's amazing that they go bad because there's not really that many moving parts to it, but when they go bad, they can make a tremendous noise. And I have seen them make a noise only in one direction. So it could be that driven clutch. So if you don't know how to crank your car in neutral, figure that out depending on which car you have. You know, figure out how to crank it in neutral. Rev it up and watch that clutch in the rear and the front one. Rev up your RPMs and watch them and make sure they have smooth operation in both directions with no noise. Or figure out which one is making the noise when you're going in reverse. But yeah, you're probably on the right track there. If it's only doing it in one direction, it's most likely going to be one of your clutches. Let's see. Jen Slinger says, hey Tim, what temperature charge state is the best to check, fill lead acid batteries? I spoke with Jen Slinger on the phone a while ago and we talked about this. So I did a little research and I plugged some things in on the internet, and I can tell you this: when it comes to temperature and batteries and how it affects lead acid batteries, there is a blog I discovered on a website called blueboxbatteries.co.uk. blueboxbatteries.co.uk. There is a technical blog that will fill your head with way more stuff than you ever wanted to know about temperature and how they affect batteries. It was an entire page of how 10 degrees rise in temperature can affect it will cause the life of a battery to be cut in half. I mean, it goes from there to explain what they mean by that. And I can tell you this: there's an unwritten rule in the golf cart world. Like if you talk to anybody that buys and sells golf carts, like there's lots of people out there, you know, that have golf cart shops where they buy lots of cars at one time, lots of used cars from the used car market, and then they bring them all to their shop and then they sell them. But those used cars came from somewhere. Now the best locations to get those used cars from is the further north you can get them from. The further north you get them from, the better condition those golf carts are going to be in. So that's why people love to get golf carts from New York, from the Northeast, or from the Northwest and Montana, even Canada. I've even gotten a hold to some golf carts from Canada before, gas and electric. The golf season is so short in the north, the further north you go, that the golf carts have been used half as much, sometimes even 1/4 as much, because the golf season is so short. They just sit there for the rest of the year. So you wouldn't believe the condition you could get from up north, that you could get a 4 to 8 year old golf cart from. You know, the further north you got, 4 to 8 years old, and it would be an unbelievable condition. I even got some electric cars one time, and I couldn't believe how good of condition they were for 1999 models. They were 1999 EZGO TXT DCS cars. I couldn't believe the condition that they were in. They were in excellent condition. And then later on I did some research and I found out that they came from Canada. And these were electric cars. They had the original batteries at the time. The batteries were about 4 years old. And I said, well, okay, well, that's going to be an expense there. Well, discharge machine on the batteries, did a discharge test on them, perfectly fine. That's because of what we were talking about temperature, with what I was just telling, what John was asking about temperature and how temperature affects batteries. Because the average temperature in Canada, wherever they're from, was at a comfortable, cool, setting. It wasn't hot, and that 10 degrees can make a big difference in the life of a battery. So obviously, over the border of Canada, they have a much higher average temperature than you do in the southern U.S. So it's a big deal. It really is. And temperature has a big effect on batteries. So if you want to fill your head with, like I said, with a lot of technical jargon, go to blueboxbatteries.co.uk and read that blog. Let's see. Ricky Smith in YouTube. What's up, Ricky? Hi, Tim. Just checking in. Swag. Got you, man. Got you. I hear you. Russell Weidman says it's 85 here in Flagler Beach, Florida. That's motorcycle weather there. Definitely. Let's see. We're on number 3. Let me check here. Okay. There's my issue. All right. We're on to regular number 3. I have a 2004 EZGO TXT PDS 36 volt. It is lifted with oversized tires, but otherwise stock. Okay, that's a red flag right there, but we'll get to that. It has since started to drive, but then goes into the limp mode, then won't move at all. The multimeter shows 36 to 38 volts. Just about everywhere I could test. I'm thinking it might be a controller. It has a Curtis OEM controller. All right, now this is a subject that I caused a lot of controversy with some customers over the years in my golf cart shop. But you have to understand, I got everybody's broke stuff in my shop. I got everybody's broke car, their golf cars. So I've seen what happens, and I can tell you this: a stock EZGO PDS, if you put a lift kit on it and taller tires, it's not going to like it. Unless you're just going to ride around on asphalt in your neighborhood, you better not ever get into any hilly terrain or any woods or anything like that. If it's stock, a stock PDS does not like to be lifted with taller tires. That controller will go into thermal shutdown twice as fast. And you can even put a stock PDS controller into thermal shutdown just by crawling around the wood zone. But I know because I did it for years. I mean, I tested everything I sold or everything I built. I had to test it in my track, in my golf cart track. It consisted of trails and woods and hilly terrain. I would make sure that everything would make it through there. Well, I can tell you this: even my little test track I had in the woods, stock PDS, I could put it in the thermal shutdown. So you put taller tires on it, and then it's going to happen twice as fast. And the reason I'm saying thermal shutdown in your case, because you check the battery voltages and they're fine, 36 to 38 volts. That would be fine. So it's not your batteries. Well, thermal shutdown feels exactly like your battery's going dead. So anytime you want to lift a PDS, just plan on replacing the controller. Do it first, because that stock controller is just not going to work with the taller tires. Not in the long run. Like I said, it'll work just around your neighborhood on the asphalt, but don't think about going to the woods or anything with it. That's probably going to ruffle some feathers because there's so many stock PDS lifted cars out there. That's why I say it caused controversy when I would say that with some customers. Number 4, 36 volt 92 club car. 36 volt 92 club car. New batteries, new forward and reverse switch, new solenoid, but the cart still won't move. Clicks when the pedal move, but the cart won't move. Battery person thought it might be the speed controller. What do you think? 92, does it have a 92? Do you have an electronic speed controller, or is it a resistor cart? You know, with a row of resistors. You know, because 92, that's about the year that they first introduced controllers. So yeah, it could be a controller cart. But yes, that's where I would be leaning. It's obviously, this is what you can do in your case. You can do the since we know you're getting power to the solenoid, like we talked about before, the cart won't move. The only two things that are behind the solenoid is the controller and the motor. Well, let's eliminate the motor. Let's do the motor test. And the way you can test your motor has 4 terminals on it, because I know this is a series cart that we're talking about in 92. You have 2 A terminals and 2 S terminals. You got A1, A2, and S1 and S2. take one of your battery cables off, one of these short battery cables, connect any A terminal to any S terminal. Okay, make that jumper there from an A terminal to an S terminal with one battery cable, and then you have two other terminals that are just sitting there, right? Because you removed all four of your wires off the motor before you did this. Take 12 volts, take some jumper cables, and hook to a 12-volt battery, a 12-volt battery source. You can even use the batteries in your golf cart if you'd like to. You could hook across two of your 6-volt batteries if you would like to get a 12-volt. Take the jumper cables and go to the other two connections on the motor. Put them to the other two connections, the open connections. That motor should spin. Switch them around, your negative and your positive, and switch them back, and your motor should spin the opposite direction. That would be switching it to reverse. If that works, if your motor spins, it's not going to spin very fast on just 12 volts alone, so don't worry. If your motor spins both directions, then it's not your motor. So your solenoid's clicking. It's either going to be your solenoid, because it's not 100% sure that solenoid is, just because they click that they're right. It's not a 100% guarantee. I have seen solenoids that click that were still bad, but it's very likely that that's what it is. And the thing in the middle is your controller. Let's see. What controller do you recommend for the G29, and where should I buy it? You're going to ask me where you should buy a controller. G29, you can get a 𝗪𝗲𝗲𝗸𝗆 controller, you can get an Alltrax controller. We sell both of those here at golfcartgarage.com. You can go to the website and check it out, look around, see which one you think you want. I've heard good things about both of them. Either company is a good company, and that's a good controller. 𝗪𝗲𝗲𝗸𝗆 or Alltrax, either one. Let's see, Chris C on YouTube. What's up, Chris C? I have a 36-volt car. Think of switching to lithium. Is there a difference in performance in series versus parallel if amp hours are similar from 312s versus 236? Okay, Chris. So you're telling me that you were running 312s in your series cart, in your car, for 36 volts. That's, some people do that. That's not recommended, because you're not going to get very much range out of 312s. Now you might say you're getting plenty of range. Well, that's not going to be near as much range as you're going to get if you go to lithium. So there's a difference in performance for sure, but you have to understand, when you get a lithium battery, depending on which company you go with, you're going to get one battery, okay? You're not going to get 312s. Unless you're talking about Allied, then they don't even recommend that anymore. Allied doesn't recommend doing the 312s in series for their golf cart applications. They still sell the 12, but that's why most companies you see now have a one battery that's a 36-volt battery. That's what they're going to sell you. And inside that battery, there's multiple parallel connections inside that battery, but you don't have to worry about any of that. You just get one big 36-volt battery and hook your positive and negative cable up to the post, and you're done. They're also going to recommend you using their own charger too. So you're going to have to, accept that cost also, not just the cost of the battery, but you're going to have to spend another $300 or so for whatever company it is, the charger. But yeah, this I don't believe I don't believe Allied recommends that 312 in lithium, if that's what you were talking about. Let me see here. Keith E. Popel in Facebook. What's up, Keith? Hope all is good. Still in Palmetto, Florida. Everything is cool, Keith. How is everything with you, man? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everybody's here. Let me see. Number 4 on the regular questions. '36-volt 92 club car. Wait, no, that's, well, we already did. So we're on number 5, Tim. Get your stuff together. Club car DS 86 electric, upgraded to AC motor with IQ harness. Cool. The rear end makes sort of a knocking sound noise when I accelerate hard, but when I take off easy, it doesn't make the noise. All right, I have a theory on that one. I thought about that one because I read that earlier, and I have a theory on that. You're talking about an 86 Club Car DS, and so you completely jerked the wiring harness, you put an IQ in it, basically converted it to IQ first, and then you went to the 𝗪𝗲𝗲 AC system. All right, well, that's a much more powerful system, okay, than that car was used to. So what can happen is, when you go with a powerful system like an 86, also I know this too about the old club cars, it's got a single leaf spring, one leaf, you know, in the rear, unless you've upgraded and got a 2-leaf or a 3-leaf or even 4-leaf. And when you have that much more power, when you accelerate hard, there is a phenomenon, I guess you would call it, that's called axle wrap. Like the motor is, you got so much power now that the whole rear end is trying to twist on those leaf springs, and it's going to twist it forward. There could be all kinds of noise that happens because of that. Also, you make sure you got bushings in your leaf spring. Make sure you got leaf spring bushings. You may find your noise right there. You may have a loose bolt or something, because you got to remember, you have so much more power now that a lot of things are twisting a little bit harder, twisting further. So I would check that out before I dove into the rear end. Just check for any loose bolts and make sure your bushings are in your leaf springs, because that's an old cart. I mean, it could be very easily have disintegrated bushings at this point. Russell says, my first time here, did not know that the garage was parts supplier too. My bad. Oh, not a problem. Here, Golf Cart Garage, that's who I work for. Golf Cart Garage, the online website which we sell lots of golf cart parts. I mean, I'm just the tech guy, you know, for Golf Cart Garage. But yes, we sell everything. So yeah, feel free to go to the website and buy up some stuff. Let's see. Number 6 is where we're at. I've got a EZGO RXV 48 volt. I live in an area with hills and often carry 4 passengers. My cart slows down quite a bit when going uphill. I'm wondering how I can upgrade my cart to handle hills better. Would you upgrade controller and or battery, upgrade to lithium or would upgrade to lithium be the trick? Any of that would help you. I mean, you could just upgrade the controller. I tell you what I would do. Lithium batteries put so much of a strain. They don't put a strain. They cause your controller to work harder. So they can cause your controller to work harder. So I wouldn't go lithium first. I would do the controller first. All right. Upgrade your controller and just see where you're at there. Just see if that helps you with your situation. That may be enough. If not, I guarantee you, if you switch to lithium at that point with an upgraded controller, then that will help you. That's a guarantee there. But if you wanted to do it in the correct order, I still think that you should do the controller first and then do the lithium upgrade. Either one would help. Let's see, number 7. Let's see. I've had numerous problems with the 6-volt batteries. Mainly 1 or 2 of them go bad and then it ruins the other 4. Yeah, that's true. Happened twice. I don't want to do it again. I want to put in 3 12-volt deep cycles as it's a 36-volt system. Is there any problem with that? Several sites on the internet says it works great. What's your opinion? Well, I can tell you this. If you're talking about 3 12-volt deep cycle marine batteries and you're asking me, will it work? Yes, it will work. It will work. Is it recommended? It will or not? That would be. Now, it's not that it's not recommended because it's going to hurt anything. It's just that I'd need to know what your long-term goal is, because 312s, those 312s, you're going to have 2 problems with it. The 2 main problems with the 312s. It's going to be your golf cart is not going to go near as far as 6.6s. It's not going to have near as much distance, because the amount of lead that you're carrying around in your battery pack is directly related to the distance your golf cart can travel. 312s is a whole lot less lead. It's less than half as much lead as 6.6s. So there's your range right there. Your range is going to be reduced dramatically. Now, if range is not important to you, okay, so that throws that one out, if range is not important. The next thing, number 2, 312s is not going to last as long in the long run, like in years, as 6.6s is. Like in 6.6s, I would tell my customers a brand new set of Trojan T105s, you can expect to get anywhere between 4 and 5 years in the South, you know, out of that set of batteries. 312s, I'd be surprised if you get 3 years out of that 312 configuration before you're going to have to buy them again. Now, if that, you need to get a calculator out and see if that's going to be cost prohibitive or not, you know, is what I'm saying. But that's up to you. You know, look at it from a money point of view. That's your options there. Let me see. We're good there. Let's see. Number 8. My ERIC charger, which came with a 2001 club car, there's a red flag right there, we'll get to it, seems to start to charge, but starts flashing yellow after a few seconds. My new batteries do show 8.36. Does this mean that they're fully charged and don't need a charge? All right. Okay. That ERIC charger, it may have been sold to you with your 2001 club car, but it is not the charger you're supposed to be using on a 2001 club car. It will not work. Your 2001 club car has an onboard computer. Now this is, I'm assuming that no one has bypassed the onboard computer, or or done something with that. If everything is the way that it was from the factory, then a 2001 club car has an onboard computer. That ERIC charger is for club cars 2013 and newer. That's when they did away with the onboard computer. So that's not the right charger for your car if your car still has an working onboard computer. So you're going to have to get that resolved, or it's never going to charge correctly. Let's see. Number 9. I have a 96 EZGO Medalist. The cart runs wide open when I slightly push the accelerator pedal. I took the carb off and cleaned it. Made no difference. I just pulled the bed off to get to the governor. Looks like the cable is stretched, but don't know if that matters. Maybe the carb is running too rich. No, I would say this. It's not going to be that the carb is running too rich. It's going to be something to do with that cable, because my first thought on a gas carb would have been something about the governor. People, they do all kinds of stuff trying to make their golf cart faster, and as soon as they find that governor area, they will try to adjust it, or they'll bend something. I've seen people in club cars, they actually bent the governor bracket so it would pull the governor back, and it does get your car faster, but it makes it to where it's almost useless at slow speed. So yeah, you probably found your problem there with that stretch cable. Let's see. Go to the last scheduled question. Number 10. Colombia cart hesitating to move. My cart had been stored for a few years. It ran fine. Everything worked. I even drove it a mile up the road where it was, but now I turn it on and it clicks. Horns, lights, and reverse starts beeping. As soon as I press the pedal, it hesitates like it jolts in motion and stalls, followed by the light on the dash starts flashing. What does this mean? Could you please tell me what you think could be wrong? Let's see. Well, it sounds like possible battery issue to me. I'd like to see some battery readings, on your off your batteries, with a voltmeter. Get a little handheld voltmeter like this or something similar to this at Walmart. You can get them $10-15 and take some battery readings. It sounds like that the dash light's most likely being activated by low voltage. I mean, that would be what would happen in I'm not sure on a Colombia, but on a club car, that would be what would happen. There's a dash light that will come on for low voltage. It comes on for another reason too, but one of the reasons it can come on is low voltage. So that's what it sounds like you have going on there. If you like this channel and you want to follow us on all other platforms, I'm running the links right now to follow us on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere. We're all over the internet now. So those are the links for that. Let's see. Check on Facebook here. We're good over there. All right. Also, there's the coupon code. Get 5% off any parts you order at 𝗏𝘂𝘁𝗿𝘆 You see that, Russell? Coupon code. Use TIM8 at checkout at 𝗏𝘂𝘁𝗿𝘆 That expires March the 10th. Kirk's reminding me, he's my tip reminder. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Kirk. This code expires on March the 10th, 2023. Get 5% off. Use the coupon code TIM8 at checkout at 𝗏𝘂𝘁𝗿𝘆 All right. Don't forget the tip. Gotcha. I've already said it in this episode, but I'm going to say it again because it is a good tip, because there are so many PDS cars out there available. So many EZGO PDS cars. An EZGO PDS is a good car in stock form. If you leave it alone, it's a good car. It'll last you many years and it does a good job for what it was intended for. But if you start putting taller tires on it, it's not going to like it. So if you insist on lifting it and putting taller tires on your PDS, which is fine, then change the controller at least. Mine, I have a lifted PDS myself. Well, I'm not bad-mouthing EZGO PDSs. I have a lifted PDS. I changed the motor and controller though. I changed both of them. And I've never had a single problem with it. I can crawl around the woods. I can do whatever I want. I think I showed a picture of it last time. Let's see. I'll show a picture of it again. Where is it at? Bam! That's my lifted EZGO PDS. I showed it last week, I believe. But anyway, I changed the motor and controller. Never had a single problem. But I've worked on EZGO PDSs a lot, and they don't like the taller tires. So that's this week's tip. Thank you, Kurt, for reminding me again. Let's see. That looks like it's going to be about it for me. I appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate everybody in the live chat. Get your questions together, and I'll be back on, let's see, I'll be back Tuesday. I'll be back Tuesday again. We come here every Tuesday. Also, Gearheads on Demand. I'm a member of that service. I'm a part of that service. Jen Singer says, how's the internet connection at the garage coming along? Well, I did some testing yesterday. Found out what won't work. I found out what will not work with my internet out there. So I'm eliminating everything that it won't work. I'm going about this the same way that I go about golf cart problems. I'm eliminating everything that doesn't work first, and then finding the thing that will work. So yeah, I did some testing. I got to move some Wi-Fi extenders around and change positions, and I think I'll be able to do it. But I'm going to do some more testing probably today. Let's see, Above Par. Hey Tim, first time on. What's up, Above Par? Any maintenance tip? I guess you must play golf if you're above par. Any maintenance tips for a 2006 club car precedent that hasn't been run for 6 years but now has new battery and works? Well, you have new lead acid batteries. You know, if you have that, you know that you're going to have to keep an eye on your water level. Another tip, maintenance tip for that, just that alone. Keep an eye on your water level, but do not overfill them. Don't overfill them. Your water level only needs to be above the lead plates. You just need to keep the lead plates wet, just above the lead plate. So halfway between the lead plate and the top is the correct spot for your water. Do not overfill your batteries. Don't fill all the way to the top like they do at the golf course. Don't put them all the way to the top. That's a maintenance tip. Another maintenance tip is there's going to be some Allen mites or some grease fittings or some Zerk fittings on your cart, possibly in the front end. So look for those, or figure out where all those are, and occasionally squirt some grease in there. But that's really about it. And make sure you keep your golf cart charged. Okay, he says you went lithium. All right, well then forget everything I just said about the battery maintenance, because you have none. So don't worry about that. So just stay on top of your air pressure in your tires. Stay on top of your if whatever lithium company that you went with, you know, they're going to have their own suggestions and recommendations on charging and how often and what you should do with that. So just follow their instructions on that, but it's going to be very simple. But other than that, just grease fittings, that's going to be about it, and air pressure in your tires. That's going to be about it as far as any maintenance tips go for that, because once you go lithium, that cuts out a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it cuts out a whole bunch of worries, you know, that you had before. Jen Slinger says check your bushings. Yep, check your bushings and your leaf springs. You know, make sure they're still there, because even in a 2006, you know, you could have a busted bushing or a disintegrated bushing. So check your bushings. That'll be good. Check your front end alignment every now and then. Kind of just do a walk around. I like to call it a, well, in my fast car, it's pre-flight. I do a pre-flight check before I fly. You know, but just do a walk around pre-ride check and make sure your front tires look good. Make sure you don't see any uneven wear. Bub Parr says, thank you so much for the info. Cool. You're welcome, man. I appreciate you being here. Come back next time. Come back. Like I said, we come here every Tuesday and Thursday, and we talk about all things golf carts. I come here. I go live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon Central Time. So you're welcome to come back and join us in the chat. Let's see here. Let's see. Joe Foster says, I have a 2003, Joe Foster on Facebook, by the way, 2003 lifted. What controller? Of course, what controller do I need? You just answered, except controller number 36 volt, Curtis stop. Yeah, you got a 2003 TXT lifted. Yeah. Well, if you're going to upgrade your controller, you can get a Navitas higher amp controller, or you can get an Alltrax higher amp controller. That's just up to you. I recommend getting as high an amp of controller that you can afford, you know, that you're willing to spend. That way you're ready for anything else in the future. You know, if your card is a 2003 TXT, but is it a PDS? In other words, does it have a run toe switch? If it has a run toe switch, it's even more important that you change the controller. I have found that a series EZGO, the ones that don't have a run toe switch, they can handle the lift with the stock controller a little bit better. As long as you didn't go too crazy on the lift, it still puts a lot of pressure on the controller with the taller tires, even in a series, but they seem to handle it a little bit better than PDS cars do. When I say PDS car, that's in your year range that has a run toe switch. It's very important on that one that you change the controller. Let's see. Jen Slinger does the metal hand. Ricky Smith, thumbs up. Why am I the only one giving thumbs up? Mason Grove, thumbs up. Thanks guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let's see. We've done the tip. We've run the coupon code. We've run the social media links. We've done everything we can do here today, guys. All right. I will see everybody on Tuesday of next week. All right, cool. Garage is now closed.